Hello, cats and kittens. Oliver Jose Yoroshko. I'm back in the Crisis Corner, in the Manga Corner specifically, giving my impressions of One Piece 1169. My death cannot come soon enough. And with this chapter confirmed, my man Harold is the worst king in the history of One Piece. Not really, but he was duped. He was duped by his own admission out of his own mouth. He was a horrible king, but he was blindsided by his love for his people and his desire to see a brighter future for them. And in fairness, he was willing to do the dirty work and keep them out of it so that they could benefit. So it's not like he plunged them into a life of servitude. He was trying to actually not do that, keep the people's hands clean, let them benefit from his servitude, and eventually see a better world for all of Elbaf. The problem was he did not know who he was. He should have known, but he did not anticipate the griminess of the people he was getting in bed with. And he found out. He found out. So the story opens with Shanks and Gabon, which is interesting. Shanks and Gabon talking about the fact that Rogers has a son. So Gabon is relating this to Shanks as he heard it from Garp. So Garp, assuming that they weren't trying to kill each other at the time, Garp was on some amicable levels with Gabon to the point where he would tell him, hey, your captain had a son, which is huge news. So Shanks hears this. He says, wow, that's basically like my little brother. Now, the next question will come after that. When did he know this? Did he run into, well, when he, put it like this, when he ran into Ace, did he know that this was Shanks' son? And if he did know, did he tell Ace, hey, I ran with your father, blah, 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 whatever. So how does that work out? And past all of that, when Marineford went down, why wasn't he front and center with Whitebeard trying to save Ace, if that's his little brother? I don't know. So that's another story for another day. But he does find out that his captain had a son, which is cool. Then we shuttle over to the terrible beginning of the end for Harold as he finally realizes that he's been placed under a servitude contract via the seal that he received on his left arm. Now he is no longer basically in control of his faculties or his body, and he's lashing out at his own men, and it is heartbreaking. He basically, and he says himself, the last 144 years of my life went down the drain. It's been wasted. He just now realizes how bad the world government, the Celestials, and Emu have duped him. And his only way out at this point is to take the L, to have his men take him out, which they attempt to do, which is where before all of this flashback business went down, at the first inception or the first layer of the flashback, way back when all of this started, the only question that I had was, why was Harold getting stabbed up? And is this how he died? Now we see the context that he was being taken out under his own orders. He told his men, take me out. And they were following his orders. Unfortunately, now that we know how Emu's Dami Reversi and the power that he gives to his God's Knights works, taking him out right now is not an easy task. It's borderline impossible. It took Gold Rogers and Garp going all out to take down Rocks, barely, and none of them is present right now. Loki and Jaro just walked in on this and now wackiness ensues. And it's a sad situation because, like I say, Harold wasn't a bad guy. He was just not very smart. Shanks and Gabon feel the hockey release when Emu fully takes over Harold's body. They're far away. They're coming. They're on the way. But we join the clash between Loki, Jaro, and Harold. And as we can see, it's not going to end well at the current pace. Neither one of them is strong enough to take down Harold, especially when Emu takes full control of this man and starts really lashing out. But before that, Harold pleads with Loki, go eat the devil fruit, the treasure of Elbath, because only then will you be strong enough to take me out. And he's begging with him, you take over as king and tell the people what I've done and how I failed them and all of that. It's a pretty sad sight. It's a pretty sad sight because, again, he wasn't a bad guy. He was just not the type. He shouldn't have got into that situation, and he should have predicted that the world government and the celestial dragons and Emu were not trustworthy. But he found out. He found out too late. So the crux of the chapter is Harold breaks free from Gerald, or whatever his name is, and Loki, and wreaks havoc. He's the one that took out all of those guards in the palace, where previously it was told to us, the reader, and through history that Loki did this. We find out now that it was his father that did all of the killing, and they just had to put him down because he was going to open the seal of the abyss and then bring Elbath to heal for Emu. That could not be allowed to happen, so action had to be taken. Loki goes to eat this fruit that would help him take down his father. My man Gerald gets stabbed through the head, as we saw in real time. How he survives that, I have no idea. Why that sword is still in his head, I have no idea. I guess it couldn't be extracted. Fine. So then it comes down to Loki going to the armory to find the fruit that he needs to eat to take his father out, and he gets attacked by this hammer, and that's where we leave off. So hammer, mallet, mace, whatever you want to call it, it attacks him. So this is clearly a weapon that aided Devil's fruit. Now, what that fruit was, we don't know. Maybe it was the lightning fruit or the Mjolnir fruit. I don't know. But it sets up a good. Oh, and also Shanks and Gabon make it to the palace to help try to subdue Harold, which is the first time really that we see Shanks in action doing something. He hasn't used any type of hockey tricks or used any particular attack that we haven't seen before. They just sliced into Jarul and tried to stop him, but he's regenerating, so that's not really having an effect. But the point is, they know what happened. So when we go back to real time, we know that Shanks, we know that Jarul, Gabon know exactly what happened in the capital. Now, Harold is going to find out, which will change his opinions of his half-brother. And Luffy's going to find out, which Luffy was in the tank for Loki anyway, so that's not really going to move the needle with Luffy. He wanted to let him loose anyway. But they will have full knowledge of what happened in the palace. Harrowden is going to likely embrace his brother and apologize for whatever beef they had. Loki will likely, I can't say he's going to soften towards Harrowden because all of his animosity towards it. He didn't really show that much like animosity, like I hate you type vibes. His imprisonment was manufactured. We know that. It was manufactured likely to protect Harold's reputation. Um, that's the most logical conclusion that I can find out. So Harridan's going to probably have empathy for Loki for protecting his father's reputation, and they'll work that out, and then they'll go up and battle against Emu in the Sun Realm. So there's that. But that's all I wanted to know. All I wanted to know is what happened to Harold, and why was Loki villainized? That's all I wanted to know. But we did get rocks. We got all of that information about the rocks pirates and Harold's background and all kind of stuff about Shanks and the guys' nights. So win-win. It's all good. So there's this week there's gonna be a break from the magazine, but the leaks are gonna come out. The leaks are coming out as we speak. So next week we're gonna have the full chapter, unless somehow it leaks this week. Either way, I'm fine. I can do with the spoilers and the leaks. That'll keep me going. But let me know what you think about chapter 1169. Was Harold the worst king in the history of One Piece? Let me know. Until next week, y'all stay loose.